The most feared alpha on campus didn't make impulsive decisions. Everything about Zayn was calculated. Every move, every word, every silence. So when he walked Aira away from that hallway, people didn't just see a moment. They knew something bigger had just started. By evening, the entire campus was buzzing. No one could believe it. Zayn marked an Omega? No way. Not just any Omega? Her? Aira felt every stare the next day. It was different now. Before, she had been invisible, ignored, just another face in the background. But now, people moved when she walked past. Not out of respect for her, but because of who stood behind her. Or rather, who could. Zayn didn't stay close to her all the time. That wasn't his style. He wasn't the kind of alpha who hovered. But his presence was always there like a shadow no one could escape. And everyone knew it. Aira was sitting in the courtyard, trying to focus on her notes when the air suddenly shifted. That heavy feeling. The one that made conversations die down. Zayn. He didn't say anything as he approached. He just stood there for a second, watching her. Aira looked up. "You're staring," she said calmly. A faint smirk touched his lips. "You're still alive." She raised an eyebrow. "Should I not be?" Zayn crossed his arms. Rogues don't give up easily. Aira's grip on her pen tightened slightly. "I figured." There was a pause. "Have you seen them?" she asked. Zayn's eyes darkened, just a little. Not yet. That didn't make her feel better. It made it worse. Because if Zayn hadn't found them, it meant they were being careful, watching, waiting. "You're not safe outside alone," he added. Aira sighed softly. "I can't just stop living my life." Zayn stepped closer. "You can if you want to keep it." That shut her up for a second. He wasn't wrong. But something in her resisted that idea, the idea of being controlled, even if it was for protection. "I didn't ask to be locked up," she said quietly. Zayn tilted his head, studying her again. "You asked to be marked. That's not the same thing." "No," he agreed. "It's worse." Aira looked away, frustrated. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Zayn did something unexpected. "Come with me." She frowned. "Where?" "You'll see." Aira hesitated, then stood up. If she had trusted him enough to make that request, she could trust him this far. He led her to a part of campus she had never been to before, behind the main training grounds, past a set of gates that most students didn't even know existed. It was quiet there, isolated. "What is this place?" she asked. "My territory," Zayn said simply. Aira glanced around. It felt different, like the air itself was heavier, controlled. "Why bring me here?" Zayn turned to face her. "Because if you're going to stay under my protection, you need to understand something." She crossed her arms slightly. "Which is?" "You don't make reckless decisions anymore." Aira frowned. "You think this was reckless?" Zayn stepped closer, his presence instantly overwhelming. "I think you walked up to the most dangerous alpha on campus and asked him to claim you," he said quietly. "That's not normal." Aira held his gaze. "And yet you said yes." That made him pause. For a split second, she had the upper hand. But it didn't last. Zayn leaned in slightly, his voice dropping. "Don't confuse interest with weakness." Aira's breath hitched, but she didn't back away. "Then what was it?" she asked. There was a long silence. Zayn straightened again. "Curiosity," he said finally. That answer lingered between them. Aira didn't know if that made her feel better or worse. Before she could respond, a sudden sound cut through the quiet. A branch snapping. Both of them turned instantly. Zayn's entire demeanor changed in a second. The calm alpha was gone. In his place, something sharper, more dangerous. "Stay behind me," he ordered. Aira didn't argue. She stepped back as Zayn moved forward, his eyes scanning the area. Another sound. Closer this time. A low growl echoed from the trees. Aira's heart started pounding. "They found me," she whispered. Zayn didn't respond. He didn't need to, because a figure stepped out from the shadows. Then another. Rogues. Their presence was wrong, twisted. Their eyes locked onto Aira immediately, like predators spotting prey. "Well," one of them said, his voice rough, amused. "Looks like you upgraded your protection." Zayn stepped forward, placing himself fully between them and Aira. "You shouldn't be here," he said coldly. The rogue alpha smirked. "And you shouldn't be interfering." There was tension in the air, thick, suffocating. Aira could feel it building. This wasn't going to end peacefully. "Leave," Zayn said, his tone final. The rogue laughed. Or what? That was all it took. In the next second, everything exploded into motion. Zayn moved faster than Aira could track. 1 second he was standing still. The next he was in front of the rogue, his fist connecting hard enough to send him crashing back. The other rogues lunged. Aira stumbled back, her breath coming fast as chaos unfolded in front of her. Zayn wasn't holding back. Every movement was precise, brutal, controlled. He didn't fight like someone trying to win. He fought like someone making a statement. "Don't touch what's mine." One rogue tried to circle around him to get to Aira. That was his mistake. Zayn turned instantly, grabbing him and slamming him to the ground with a force that shook the air. "Run," he snapped at Aira. She froze. "I'm not leaving you. Now." Something in his voice made her move. Aira turned and ran, her heart racing, her mind spinning. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she had to get away from the fight. Behind her, the sounds of it continued, heavy impacts, growls, something breaking. She didn't stop until she reached the edge of the main campus. Only then did she turn. Silence. Too much silence. Minutes passed. Each one felt like forever. And then, footsteps. Aira's breath caught as Zayn appeared. He was still standing, but not untouched. There were marks on him, blood, signs of the fight. But his expression was the same as always, calm, controlled, dangerous. "You're okay," she said, almost in disbelief. Zayn looked at her, his gaze steady. "They won't come back," he said. Aira shook her head slightly. "You don't know that." Zayn stepped closer. "I do." There was something in his voice. Something final. Aira searched his face. "Why?" she asked quietly. Zayn didn't answer right away. Then slowly he said, "Because now they know who you belong to." The words sent a chill down her spine. Not fear, something else. Something deeper. Because this wasn't just protection anymore. This was possession. And whether she realized it or not, she had just stepped into a world she couldn't walk out of. The words lingered in the air long after he said them. Aira didn't respond immediately. She just stood there, trying to process what belonging really meant now. It wasn't just a mark. It wasn't just protection. It was a line she had crossed, one she couldn't uncross. Zayn watched her carefully, as if he could read every thought running through her mind. "You're thinking too much," he said calmly. Aira let out a quiet breath. "I have a right to." He didn't argue with that. Instead, he turned slightly, scanning the area again, always alert. "You're safe," he added, though his tone suggested something more complex than reassurance. Aira frowned slightly. "Safe with you, or safe because of you?" Zayn glanced at her, a faint edge in his expression. "Does it matter?" She hesitated. It should. For a moment, neither of them moved. The tension between them wasn't just about danger anymore. It was something deeper, something neither of them fully understood yet. Zayn stepped closer again, not threatening, but not gentle either. Just present. You asked for this, he reminded her. Aira met his gaze. I know. Then don't question it now. That should have ended the conversation. But it didn't, because Aira wasn't like the others. She didn't just accept things blindly. I'm not questioning your protection, she said quietly. I'm questioning what comes with it. Zayn's eyes narrowed slightly. Everything comes with a price. Aira gave a small, almost bitter smile. I figured. A silence followed, heavier this time. Not uncomfortable. Just real. Zayn finally stepped back. You should go back to your dorm. Aira blinked. That's it? For now. There was something in the way he said it that told her this wasn't over. Not even close. She nodded slowly, then turned and started walking away. But she could feel it. His gaze on her back. Watching. Always watching. The next few days were different. Too quiet. The rogues didn't return. No threats. No shadows lurking where they shouldn't be. It should have been a relief. But instead, it felt like the calm before something worse. Aira noticed how people treated her now. No one messed with her. No one even came too close. Conversations would stop when she entered a room. Not because they respected her, but because they feared the connection she had. And Zayn, he was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She'd catch glimpses of him across campus, leaning against a wall, standing at a distance, watching everything. Always in control. Always aware. But he never approached her without reason. Until one night. Aira was walking back from the library, the campus unusually quiet under the dim lights. Her footsteps echoed softly as she moved along the empty path. And then she felt it. That same shift in the air. But this time, it wasn't Zayn. Her body tensed instantly. She stopped walking. I know you're there, she said, her voice steady despite the tension in her chest. A shadow moved. Then another. A figure stepped forward into the light. Not a rogue this time. An alpha, but not just any alpha. Someone strong. Someone confident. Someone who didn't look afraid. So you're the one. He?